The Toronto Raptors and Golden State Warriors are set for Game 3 of the NBA Finals in Oakland tomorrow, with the series tied 1-1. But it's not just sports fans who are benefiting from this series. The NBA is enjoying the boost from their first cross-border championship, with Game 1 in Toronto setting the record for the most watched NBA game in Canada's history. For more, we're joined now by the Deputy Commissioner and COO of the NBA, Tatum. Mark, great to have you with us. So, as I mentioned, huge viewership in Canada this season, up 30%. And of course, before we came on air, we're talking about your expansion in China as well. How has all this international business, what has this done for your league?
It's incredible. The game is a global game. Today, 25% of the players in the NBA were born outside the United States. And Canada, as a matter of fact, is the #1 country outside the United States that's producing NBA players. So we have a record number 13 Canadian players playing in the NBA this year, and we're seeing our business just grow internationally as a result.
It's been exciting times. We have continued to talk about the games on this show as well. And of course, you have seen engagement from President Obama as well, who was at Game 2 of the finals. We have been hearing reports. You can see him there on your screen. He was sitting right next to your boss, I believe, Adam Silver.
Yes.
We have been hearing reports that he'll be participating in establishing a league in Africa. What can you tell us?
That's right. Well, President Obama is a huge basketball fan. He always has been a huge basketball fan. And for him to be able to come to the NBA Finals and cheer on the finals was amazing. We have a partnership and are continuing to explore a partnership with the president about doing things not just in Africa around this league, but in other parts around the world as well.
How advanced is the partnership here?
So we're in very early discussions about that, but we know that we're going to do something together. We want to figure out what we do together.
What role can you play?
Oh, well, he's an incredible ambassador for the sport. He's obviously known everywhere that he goes, and his passion for the game of basketball is fantastic. So there's all kinds of things that we can do around grassroots development, education, and the like.
And what about on the marketing side, Mark, the fact that now you get a taste of what a cross-border finals looks like? Over the last week, have you had new ideas on ways to market the league going forward?
Yeah, it's incredible to have this historic moment with our first finals outside of the United States in Toronto. A third of the entire country has tuned into some portion of the NBA Finals this year, a record-setting year. We're seeing the Jurassic Park phenomenon that happens right outside the Scotiabank Arena. Now that's spreading across the West, and so we're seeing viewing parties in Vancouver and Calgary and Montreal. So it really has become an incredible national phenomenon there.
Mark, at Bloomberg, we talk a lot about valuations, whether it's the Warriors or the Raptors. It looks like the team values have been increasing, and I'm curious, with this international flavor, is the league getting more inquiries from folks around the world, whether it's to perhaps purchase an existing team or to further expansion, more expansion of the league?
Well, certainly, when you look at our ownership group, Vivek Ranadive was born in Mumbai, India. Mikhail Prokhorov was obviously born in Russia and is Russia, and Joe Tsai just purchased 49% of the Brooklyn Nets, and he's Chinese and from China. So the international ownership piece continues to be a part of the NBA, and I think so much of that is driven by the popularity of our sport on a global basis.
Also very popular, the sports betting industry, and you guys are trying to claim a piece of that pie. What's the potential of this market?
Well, I think it's huge. I think it's no secret that the sports betting industry today is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and only recently now is it becoming legalized in more and more states. Up until this point, it's all been underground, and we think that it's important that it is legalized and that there are integrity provisions that are put in place to ensure the integrity of the fans and the protection of the fans and the consumers who want to bet safely.
Mark, sports gambling is one area. Esports is another that the NBA has been focused on. Do you see more alignment between what's happening day to day in the league itself and what's happening with the developments on esports?
Oh, without a doubt. We started our very own esports league this year, the NBA 2K League, and we have now over 20 teams that are participating in that league, and the interest that we're seeing around the world is just incredible. We had our first female NBA 2K player that was drafted into the league this year. We've had several international players who were drafted into this league. So we see esports as an incredible way to grow the interest in the sport on a global basis.
Mark, before we go, we saw you recently at that draft lottery. Obviously, there were some New York Knicks fans who were hoping for the first pick. They still got the third, and some wondering if we'll see a Canadian heading to the Big Apple. Any thoughts on that?
I will tell you that this year they are projecting the most number of Canadians who are going to be drafted into the NBA. The old record was 5 years ago where there were 4, and this year's Canadian class is very, very deep. And there's a young man named R.J. Barrett who is probably the top projected pick, who is Canadian, and I know a lot of New Yorkers would be very happy if RJ ended up here playing in New York for the Knicks.